Hey guys, and welcome back to the last NTom and Volk spot of PC for this month. Oh, you're not getting rid of us quite yet. This is Hotline Miami, a top-down shooter, and if you'll allow me to scroll down, oh, the genre is top-down shooter. Thank you, Wikipedia. This was developed by Deleton Games. Abstraction Games did the remake, which I've never really heard of. Devolver Digital published the blading thing, and it originally came out in 2012. Over to you, Volk.
This is a visual sensation, that's for damn sure. One thing you'll notice right away is that there's a lot of neon bright colours, and it is, generally speaking, very trippy with all these random disembodied animal heads speaking at you about killing people and all that sort of thing. So right away the game sets the tone as being a little bit unusual, a little bit creepy. But what you get when you get down to the meat of the gameplay is a very, very fun, albeit tough experience. Luckily, this is one of those games where it doesn't hesitate to get you back into the action, but you're going to be dying a lot, let's just say that.
I'll read you a little snippet of the plot, but no more. Hotline Miami, taking place in Miami in 1989, employs an unreliable narrator, and events are sometimes presented out of chronological order. The player takes the role of an unnamed man dubbed Jacket by fans for his distinctive Letterman jacket. One day, Jacket receives a voicemail about a supposed delivery of cookies, in quotation marks, to his home. He finds a package outside which contains a rooster mask and instructions to perform a hit on a group of criminals and steal a briefcase in their possession, threatening that he is being watched and that failure is not an option. And thus the plot begins.
And the plot pretty much goes from that point on, pretty much in the same vein. You'll receive phone calls about packages or babysitting requests or things like that. Basically any slang that you can think of for go out and kill a bunch of dudes that you can possibly think of. So as you come back from level to level, you'll receive a different phone call and you'll be tasked with going into a different level with your aim of killing everybody in the room. The only trouble is, you pretty much die in one hit, so you gotta be very, very careful. Fortunately, the enemies usually go down in a single hit, or you can knock them out and then give them a finishing move with the trusty spacebar. And the idea of the game is to use your body and your brain to figure out the best way to get through the levels, and they get very, very difficult very quickly.
Oh Jesus man, this is aesthetic as fuck.
They go for that 1970s, 80s motif very heavily and just stick with it throughout.
So when did you first play Hotline Miami, mate? When did it come to your attention?
It came to my attention through a few sources actually, but I never really got round to playing it myself until, I guess, about a year or two after its initial release when it went on sale. So, of course, I played for it a bit, and then, of course, I got distracted, and now I basically suck again, so this is kind of my journey of rediscovery, so to speak. So, I'm figuring out, okay, how do I take on this dude? Of course, I don't remember all the controls. If I did, I'll know that I could throw the bat at him and take him out from there, but, of course, I just try and soldier on as best I can, trial and error and all that.
Oh, Volk, what are you like?
But once you get the hang of it, you start kind of going, okay, I've got the notions now, just go in, smack this dude, go up the stairs, and your hesitation just disappears, and you get to the point where everything basically goes like clockwork. And then you start getting into a zone and just everything starts falling into place, and that's where a lot of the meat of Hotline Miami comes from, is getting into that zone, and you just feel so good when you can get things like that. Taking on two people with one swing, taking the briefcase, and then making your hasty escape.
I've got to say, I've been critical of like indie games and whatnot overusing the retro or pixely aesthetic, but I think it works for this game because I feel if you did it realistically, or at least in a realistic visual style, the blood wouldn't pop as much, and it would eventually, you just become desensitized to it. But like this, it's like, holy shit, I'm playing what is essentially a violent cartoon, this is awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal. I mean, I do find, like, with realistic games that, yes, you do become desensitized to it a lot quicker. When it's not as realistic, that process, it can still happen, but it happens a lot slower. And sometimes you don't even notice it at all. So here we go, we just gotta figure out what this dude wants. I thought he just wanted to chat, and he just clubs me with a baseball bat.
Seems to be happening a lot in this run of Hotline Miami, mate.
There is not a single good person here, I've established. It's like, quit hitting me with the bat, I just want to talk to you. With my fists. So yeah, the game itself is pretty simple, but it prides itself by just being challenging and equal parts just speedy. You can get into the action very quickly. And even if you die, it's just a simple case of quickly hitting a button and then you're away again, ready to give it another shot.
Oh, look at that shit. It's like I'm playing Vice City all over again.
It's like Vice City with a little bit of Hawaii 5-0.
I'm surprised there was never, like, Vice City and San Andreas, like, remakes of the original GTA, which in and of itself was top-down.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I'd wager if GTA just continued down the route it originally had, we'd probably have something very similar to Hotline Miami by the end of it, so... Who knows, maybe Hotline Miami is like GTA in an alternate universe.
Well, maybe... They did go back to the top-down thing with, I think, Chinatown Wars for the DS?
Yeah, although I wager that was mostly due to hardware restrictions. But, you know, they already had that there and they knew it worked, so it was just mostly a case of, hey, we can just do this again. So this is... I would say he was a good guy, but I don't know, I think he has an ulterior motive to him.
I don't like the was in that sentence, mate. It makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, let's talk about something else.
But yes, after each job you'll meet up with this dude in various places who will give you things on the house. So whether that's payment for a job or something like that, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like being paid in pizzas and candy bars is a bit of a cheap cop-out considering you're putting your life on the line and killing people. You think it'd be worth a bit more than a pizza, but I don't know. I guess these are different times and a different economy.
2 pizzas then, but I can't go any higher than that.
Make it 2.5 and some garlic bread and you got a deal. So here we go. Now we got to deal with a babysitting job. And there are a lot of screaming babies in that building, and we gotta put them to sleep with a baseball bat.
Ah, I get you. So when do we get the guns? When do we get the freaking guns?
The guns are coming very soon. If it's not in this one, it's in the next one.
Oh, I've had enough to hear with your rules!
I actually do cut it a little bit towards one of my favourite levels, so... We're going to do this one, and then we're going to jump ahead just a little bit. Not too far forwards, but forward enough to get there.
No talk. Nice. An eye for secrets. Does what mask you wear actually affect the gameplay?
It does a little bit. It's very minor little things here and there, I believe, but... They do give you subtle things, or whether it's just words to give you a sense of empowerment, I don't know, but... I've noticed it a little bit, like especially with the mask that lets you find more guns, I do obviously find more guns, so... I'd wager there's something to it, so here we go.
Well, I've got the Hotline Miami mask wiki here, so... Richard, who is the rooster, default mask, grants no special abilities. Rasmus is the owl, he has an eye for secrets. Obtained by achieving a high score in the Metro. Highlights unlockable masks and puzzle pieces. And what are puzzle pieces? You ask. Throughout the game, the player may pick up puzzle pieces that have a letter upon them. These letters form a simple word puzzle where the player has to figure out what all the letters put together mean. This puzzle may be accessed during a game by pressing escape, then selecting puzzle, provided the player has at least one puzzle piece in their possession. Completing the puzzle gives access to the secret ending and resolution by using the computer in that level.
Ooh. So yes, definitely worth trying to get all the masks, go for those high scores, etc, etc. So yeah, this level can be pretty tricky, because it kind of teaches you the idea of guns that, yes, you can use them, but the chances are somebody will hear you. So you gotta be clever, whether it's by trying to find silenced weapons or trying to get people out on their own before firing is a good way to go. However, you can just also go in and say, I'm going to make as much noise as I want to try and lure other people here so that I can then shoot them also.
Ah, that's very Hitman-esque, or... Wait, no, not Hitman, Manhunt, although I suppose they have similar gameplay styles when you get down to it.
Yeah, I mean, with Hitman, you can oftentimes just go for the brutal route as opposed to the subtle and controlled route that most people tend to go for. But, you know, I guess... When you're a hitman, that's kind of how you gotta play the game, so that's probably why most people opt for it. But here, you can very much go as subtle or as gung-ho as you want, and Both are equally as good, providing you kind of got the lay of the land and know where everybody is, so you can be ready for them before they come over to you and either shoot you or smack you across the head.
Nice.
As you go through the game as well, you do actually unlock more weapons. So you start off with a rather limited weapon range to begin with, but you can unlock extra guns, samurai swords and things like that. So there's plenty of things for you to unlock as long as you have the patience to try and go for... I wouldn't say you need to go for ridiculously high scores every single time, but it kind of encourages you to go for as many kind of bonuses and such as you possibly can.
Now, I think we have to talk about one of the biggest factors of Hotline Miami's success, mate. I don't know whether it was intrinsically linked to it, but I would say it's a big factor of its popularity, the soundtrack.
Yes, the soundtrack is what many people say is probably the best point of Hotline Miami. Personally, I absolutely love the soundtrack. It has just the right amount of blend of different genres whilst keeping the same aesthetic. It's just incredible. I listen to it on and off, even 4 or 5 years later. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been since this game's been out, but one of my favourite tracks in the game is actually coming up very, very soon.
Nice, nice. A few of the artists you can find on the soundtrack are Sun Aurora, Moon, Sorry, I gotta take a step back and have a run up on this one. Perturbator, who I think also did... Yes, I think they did the music for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and also Trials of the Blood Dragon as well. I knew that soundtrack sounded familiar.
Yeah, that does sound like the sort of thing that would be in Blood Dragon as well. Very good game as well, actually.
Yeah, I've watched the two best friends play through of it, because of course that's what Let's Plays are for. You know, vicariously living through other people's experiences.
True that. So here we go, we gotta collect our pizza that we've been rewarded for assassinating 10, 12 people, or however many it was. I've already lost track.
So is that just code for something, or is it an actual pizza?
I believe it might be code, although I don't think I ever found out whether it was or not. I just assumed it's either code, or this guy's just not getting paid very well.
Ah, okay, so we're playing as the pig now. Let me look that shit up.
And yes, this is my favourite soundtrack. Hydrogen by a person called Moon.
Alright, Aubrey, pig, more guns. Obtained by achieving a high score in Overdose. Spawns more guns.
There you go. If you wanted more guns in your life, then that's the one you go for.
Oh, that beat. It's tasty, man. It's tasty.
I love this one in particular because it builds up so well. It starts off relatively slow, but then it gets more and more beatier. It's just a top quality song. Absolutely love it.
I think my favourite track from the soundtrack, and sadly I got this from VGCW, it's Jacket's theme. I believe it is Miami Disco.
Yeah. I always remember watching the Twitch chat whenever Jacket came on. It was just like, there's no need to be upset. And that is, of course, referring to the gorilla saying, "That rustles my jimmies."
Indeed. Yeah, I see what you mean about the sound building up, mate. This is legit.
You can easily see why this is probably one of my favourites. Now, luckily, you don't have to clear the entire level in one fell swoop. You do get checkpoints, so when you get to this point, whenever you die, you now start from here, so... You know, no need to panic if you lose out here. You're not going to be set too far back.
If I were you, I'd pick up that pool cue and go to town, but I guess you're going with something heavier right now.
That's the idea, although the issue I had with this particular level is that sometimes that guy will completely ignore me. Other times he will literally find me with a shotgun as soon as I get anywhere close to him. So it was a bit of a weird moment, and I included it in there just to say that things can be ever so slightly different. You can't always count on things being exactly the same.
Nice shot, mate.
Unfortunately, there was another guy waiting. It's all trial and error with this game. You kind of build up an overall strategy, and it all becomes piecing it together as quickly as you possibly can. And I really, really dig that about the game. Because you kind of think, oh yeah, I can be an absolute badass by the end of it.
It's getting a bit comical now, honestly.
It's like something out of Wile E. Coyote or something like that.
How did he not hear that? How did the guys in the adjacent room not hear that?
I have no idea, but you know what? I'm gonna take it. Well, at least these guys have ears. Unfortunately, they don't have the sense not to run out into the gunfire.
Well, you know, it's a 50-50 chance, and we don't get paid enough to think.
Yeah, they are hired goons after all.
Don't you dare quote The Simpsons. I'm watching you.
But I don't have a webcam.
I think there's one thing we can bring up before we're out of time here, and Volk was very hesitant to allow me to do this.
Unfortunately, I can't stop you.
It's Miami by Will Smith.
Oh,
Yeah. Miami. South Beach bringing the heat. Can you all feel that? Can you all feel that? Check it out.
You know what? I'm amazed you even got that far through the song without just keeling over in laughter just by the sheer ridiculous of it.
Here I am in the place where I come let go. Miami in the base of the sunset low. Every day like a Mardi Gras. Everybody party all day. No work or play. Okay, haha. That's what I'm gonna do. No one should ever go full Will Smith.
No, never. It is dangerous territory. So, you do actually get some miniature boss fights in this game as well. And usually these guys will take several gunfire in order to actually take down. So I thought what I had to do initially was shoot him and then hit him with a finishing move, but obviously he's a little bit more rugged than that, so...
Damn, man. He turned you into E.T. there.
Be one with the Atari games.
It doesn't seem like he has any guns on him right now, for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly easy boss fight just to kind of get you used to the idea. Now, at this point, I thought he was going to get back up again, but luckily he didn't, so we're going to give him the Game of Thrones treatment, and boom goes the dynamite.
God damn.
Can't leave without this woman, apparently, so I guess we got to pick her up as well.
Well, you know, it's all part of the job.
But there we go, Hotline Miami. It is an incredibly fun game. If you're looking for a game that offers you a bit more of a challenge on the side, then this may well be the game for you. You can also pick up the sequel, Hotline Miami 2, and that is pretty much more of the same, so if Hotline Miami 1 just wasn't enough action for you, you can always go ahead and pick up the second as well. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this game, and I haven't entirely completed it myself because, as I say, usually this is something I play in between the major distractions, so I'm slowly chipping away at it. I'm probably maybe 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the game at this point, I think. But you know what, I wanted to show off the start just to give you an idea and kind of show the ropes so that you may go in by your own accord and wreak havoc across Miami.
Oh man, your playstyle was generic, apparently. How dare you, Volk? Oh, it's a horse!
Oh no, all of my nightmares.
God, Epona just never forgave me ramming her into a wall over and over. It's not my fault if I can't control horses worth of shit using an analog stick, okay? Oh, but yeah, this was fun. This has been a requested one for a while now, so I'm glad we were finally able to bring it to the table, so to speak. And we hope you've enjoyed a triple threat throwdown or upload of Spot of PC. This was meant to be a batch for May, but we've kind of had some schedule issues, so expect another set at the end of June, because we love you guys.
Heart. Yeah, but thanks a lot.
We'll see you guys next time for another batch of NTom and Volk's Spot of PC. Goodbye for now.